My name is Nyombi Morris, and I'm a youth environment activist from Uganda and the founder of Earth Volunteer. This is a non-profit organization that I formed in 2020 with a mission to bring together young people who are passionate about climate and ready to do actions voluntarily. I joined activism way back in 2019 after discovering a wave that was coming from young people in the West that were fighting for climate justice. I used to see this on social media, and I could ask myself, what is this? How are they doing it? How are they even getting that courage? Who is supporting them? Who is behind them? So the curiosity was too much, and I had to reach out to some activists who were in action during that time. And those are the people who actually guided me to do more. I want them to understand that there are things that are different compared to what we see in this world. You know, when you go to social media, I was giving an example on how posts move, like you have to pay, you know. So today when you look at social media, what people post that goes viral, they are actually useless. The real message that people will write, that young people come out and write, is not seen. So for us, with our platform, we are trying to show them the real truth about environment and what they can do. That's why we don't focus on grooming only those who can plant trees. No, we focus on grooming whoever has something to offer. If you are good at writing, we want you. If you are good at singing, art, communication, anything, we want you, because through that work, you can do something that will change the world. We have seen it. People have changed the world through writing, through art, through music, through in coming out with innovations in technology. So our mission is to show that we can come together. We can show the world that these young people came together with different skills and change the world completely. This is about survival. When you do something, all this will never come out. So we cannot be like the other generation didn't do something, so we shouldn't. No, we just have to learn from their mistakes. They were not trained. We may be blaming them for not acting, but what if the type of grooming was different? What if the type of training them was different? Today, we are being raised to be problem solvers. Those days we were being raised, like the millennium, they were like, you have to study this to get a job. Today, 70% of young people are not studying to get a job. We are studying to be problem solvers, to be innovators, inventors. So we have a chance because that's how we have been groomed. So you giving young people a chance, it means you are creating a better generation that is set to come, because it's not far away. It's not far away. It's like tomorrow. But who is going to be there? The leaders we expect. Yes, they have tried to change the education system, but they are not willing to do something. They are waiting for those people who will do it. So we have to train the mindset. When we train the mindset and people start to understand that actually these people are not there to help. They are there to lobby for us and bring it to us, then we implement. That's it. Other than saying leaders must implement, leaders are going to sign on documents. The implementation, the real implementation, is actually going to be done by you. We believe that young people are actually more aware because the education system changed recently with the support of social media. Social media has improved us so much, and Google. The research like any word you put in, you can find certain articles. That's why I told you the real information is not in the viral posts. The real information, because a viral post can only be viral in just 2 or 3 minutes. But people write serious research somewhere, and their reports are not actually published anywhere for years. For years. So when you search on Google, something, you'll find there are some links deep that were not actually seen by any other person. And you find it there, that research. So those are the reports I always read. They have some real content that makes me understand the world. I know there are some famous legacy media that write so many fancy stuff, but seriously, the communication in those legacy media changed. They only post and write on what is viral, what is going to go viral. They have even AI algorithm that detect that actually this story is going to go viral. I was speaking to one of the journalists in the US, and she was telling me that actually we have an AI machine that can analyze topics and see that this is likely to go viral. That's the topic they jump. Like something is wrong on social media. People have been, I don't know, have been diverted from reading and understanding to just following the wave. Who has the biggest number of likes? When they say million, they will like that post because it has million. So they think it has some important message. They forget that actually the real message is on those posts they don't like. They don't even give attention. So it has been very challenging to persuade people to read just what we write. It has been very, very challenging. But even funding reduced. People want you to protest, and that's when the funding will be given to you. So when you are protesting, there is funds. When you are trying to do groundwork, the funds go down because you are focusing on action. They want you to focus on challenging policy makers and world leaders. But again, we are in a different geopolitical location where our countries are still least developed countries. They are still in global south. There is a history that shows we were historically colonized, exploited, and everything has been happening. So we have lands, we are not well prepared. So we as young people, when we get a chance to be funded, what we prefer is taking ground actions. And people from the West who actually have the money, who receive the funds to distribute to local organizations, they have different demands. So even the funding declined. But those days when we could strike, when your post is getting 3,000, 4,000 likes, even funds come. So people speak to get money. And those who don't speak, they don't get money. So it is the opposite. And I've realized that when you change the way you communicate, the actions you take, even the funding change. And that has to take years for you to understand, okay, now I'm building a new fan base that will support me. So this is what I'm going through right now. It's like a transition, but not a transition, where I have to understand which people are ready to follow this new transition, because I'm not going back. Yes, there is protest and there is time for protest. I'll join. But there is something we have to also think about. We have the crisis here in front of us. We have all the required space to do something to stop it. But if we stand on the street 24/7 without doing anything, we are going to age and live without any mark. I can't accept that, and I can't live in that world. No, I want to live in a world where people say he did something. I was, and I am so proud that they brought it to our eyes that we need to do something. But the challenge is we are fighting different things. They are fighting large populations like shale to tar and so on, to stop maybe to transition to renewable instead of oil drilling, oil extraction. Yes, we agree, but remember we have some difficulties, especially when it comes to transition. The current transition is not fair. The communities that suffer the most have little support. and they get little support even. At the same time, those who are not actually suffering the most are the ones getting heavy support. So in this, I can't just say that we can be the same. We are not equal, and will never be, because of the way support is distributed. Even if I say, Shell, please stop funding, stop extracting our oil, please stop displacing people, please stop. Shell will tell you, all you need is money. I'm ready to give you money. Because the leaders that actually have money, they are capable of releasing money, but to those in North, not to us in the South. So the money comes late. And in the end, we have already eaten the dirty money. So we have to pay the price. This is one of the biggest challenges, that if they could release finances in time, these other companies that we are trying to fight, to challenge, they will be nowhere. But because it's like there is some compromise that is happening between those making decisions in the West and these large corporations that are actually polluting this planet, there is something. They make sure they delay releasing support until people cry, until the crisis happens, until people die. Then they start releasing. But by the time they release, these large corporations again have already released another money. So you find it difficult to say we are going to phase out fossil fuel in Africa when Shell is giving you money when you need it. Go to India. India was flooding. Beside India, we have been seeing Nigeria losing over is it like a displaced over 4 million we are displaced in 2022. Then we saw 33 million people in Pakistan being displaced. We saw there is a conflict that is happening in Congo because of minerals, and people are migrating each and every day. We saw what happened in Malawi. Over 420 people died in just 2 nights. We have been seeing floods in Brazil. You know, Amazon is under fire. Like, everything is happening. They see, they report the news, but when it comes to support, it has to start from the West. And it comes in little portion to the South. So I found it difficult to say we are fighting for justice. We cannot speak the same way those in the West speak. If they are fighting for oil, we'll be fighting for life. Because already it is happening, people are being displaced, so we have to look for money to set up shelters for displaced people. So whoever brings in money is our friend. Even if it's Total, even if it's Shell, even if we don't like them, we have nothing to do. Like banks, BlackRock has been exploiting Tanzania for years, but because they are able to provide some money when it is needed, you see Tanzanians saying, leave BlackRock to continue. So this is the challenge. And the other thing is, the difficulty is we are not well equipped, especially our people. They were not taught about climate change. The only word we know is what is climate. We will tell you climate is this and this. Because we want to pass exams. Our education system has been like that. You go to school to study and come out with this transcript. Pass exams, show this. That's all. So people, especially those who came earlier before us, they don't know anything. So we are fighting a crisis that we actually don't know very well. We are still learning, adapting compared to those in the West. They knew, maybe they have studied somewhere, they joined the movement very early. For us, we are just starting to understand that, oh my God, this is like this, this is like this, this is like this. And in that way, we are finding it difficult for our people to adapt to the situation. It will require more years and more capacity building and more support. So sometimes we have to get away from the street and come back to community, to ground, and sit with the people and show them, guys, this is what really happening, and this is how it was caused. We even have to show them documentaries to see, because they hear, they can say, oh yeah, I heard of floods, but they don't know how it happened. They don't even have access to computers, to cell phones, to YouTube channels, or to Facebook, social media, you know? So we are still way back. This is why we have to go back and be like, okay, now we are done with the street protest. We have to go back on ground to make sure the people we are fighting for actually understand why we are fighting, or we'll be fighting for no one. We have like 5 regions. I can't say east, west, south, and central, but they are regions that are actually so vulnerable, like northeastern Uganda or northern Uganda. The overall northern Uganda is one of the richest area we have, the richest region we have. But this region has challenges. After years of exploitation, the ecosystem that side has died. There's no access to water. Rainfall is no longer happening. Sometimes it happens once in a year, to an extent that people have to move over 5 to 3 kilometers going to other country nearby. Like sometimes others go to Kenya looking for water, because those are our neighbors when you go to northern Uganda. And in 2022, around June and July, we lost over 900 people. This was shocking, because the entire world was like, how can 900 people die in just 3 days, in just 1 week? How possible was that? I went there and I distributed some food. People had no water, honestly, because I remember we gave a lady water and she collapsed immediately after taking just 1 drop. They had spent like 2 weeks. We found houses with empty, like no one is there. The family all gone because of starvation. And that is not enough. Every year in eastern Uganda, we lose people due to floods. This is the Ile area. So whenever it rains, water has to come from up, going to the opposite district, and people have been displaced. Each year, at least 2,000 have to be displaced. That is not enough. When you come to Central, our agriculture is collapsing. Today, rain happens at the beginning of the year, and it can disappear until November. Imagine a country that relies heavily on agriculture. How can you receive just 2 kind of rainfall in a year? And we cannot export food from different countries. It is the only thing we can afford as a citizen. But imagine, we cannot nowadays. Then when you come to the agricultural lobbyists that are trying to market their fake food, the GMO food, I don't know if you know that. They are trying to market that kind of food in all the entire country, in all regions, showing them how it is possible to grow actually a lot of food in 1 year. But what happens after that 1 year? Your land is gone. It will never allow you grow more food again, because it is going to be dry. Even if it rains heavily, water will disappear. That is the GMO they are spreading in Africa and in Uganda. So we have been facing the issue of starvation in the north, drought in the east, then even in the west, there is exploitation of minerals. Then we have the biggest camps of climate refugees in Africa. I think we are number 3 among the top refugee countries for other crises, beside even climate change, but for many other crises, because of we have a president who has been in power for years now is allowing anyone to come in, like he just doesn't care. But this is where we are. chances are high, time is going to come when suffering is going to be more severe than it is today. Because now everything is going up. Food is expensive, growing food is expensive, transportation, and also carrying your goods from the garden to the market is more expensive than even the goods you are carrying. So a lot is changing, a lot is becoming crazy. We never treated land in our lives. We used to grow our food the way we grow anything. And once that food is got, you change to another food. Let's say if you grow maize this year, you change it to another, maybe sweet potato or beans. That's how we used to do. We never used to look for fertilizers because we have the fertile soil. Like we used to have the fertile soil we wanted, but today we had to change. There are very few communities that actually still in that mindset of long ago of keeping your land. You just grow food. You have to understand which kind of food you are going to grow this year and how will it affect your land. So you have to prepare. But today, very few people, very few communities that still have that fertile soil. The rest have been polluted by pesticides and GMOs. So today we have changed the approach whereby if you are to grow something, you have to make sure you look for fertilizers. You look for fertilizers everywhere. You look for good pesticides everywhere because the land is polluted. The approach wasn't that radical, that like scientific. No, it was just simple. Grow the right food in the right time. That's it. If you're growing maize this year, focus on maize. Next year, change. That's how we used to do. You divide your land in portions. You say, this is going to be for maize, this will be for beans, and so on. But today, everything changed. I would say actually, at first, there are some young people who are very supportive to my activism in the beginning. One was from Hong Kong. She's called Tori. They were supporting me on social media, like they could share your posts, give you collaboration, something like that. You know, they were based in the UK. And that was a very good starting point for me. But also I would say, I've been inspired by myself most of the time because I do so many research. Like I do a lot of research on different things. So what I can say is there are some channels that have been more supportive, more helpful for me to get more resources from. And one is AJ Plus, is just another website for Al Jazeera. They have all history, some stories that they share, and they are very, very good to the world. So that one is also important. On things of grooming, it wouldn't have been easy because I wasn't that well off. But when I joined activism, I struggled so much to get visibility because I didn't have even a computer for 2 years. And in 2020, my friend called Daniel right now, yeah, he's from Denmark. He first invited me to an event, and I failed to get a visa. So it was traumatizing at some point because I was super excited to speak to people. Now, when I missed that, what I did was to continue with my work. And one day, he invited me again via Zoom. So this time round, I came with a small phone. I kept this phone for history, for remembrance. This phone, I bought it in 2019, and this is the first phone I used to do my first interview. And it was very, very poor quality, like the weakest quality I've ever used. And he told me that, you know what, Morris, I can see you are struggling, but I'll try my best to get you a computer. So he went ahead and fundraised within his workmate, and they raised like $660 something, and I got my first computer. That was a changing moment for me. That was a changing moment for me. And since then, I could do my research, I could do my video call. When you invite me for an interview, I could join in, like everything. And my life changed completely. That's why when I formed my nonprofit, what I did first was to fundraise for computer for my team. And they all got it. I haven't posted just, but they all got it. We got computers. And that was huge, a very big starting point for them to also use that same way to thrive and do anything for the planet. Because it helped me. After getting my computer, everything changed. I couldn't use the phone anymore. Anytime you invite me, I'm like, okay, let me first jump on my computer. I could speak, I could share, I could train myself. Life changed. So I always see that as a defining moment. And it inspires me that I found such a person who could understand and like, oh my God, you don't have a computer, you are struggling with this, I can help you. So many activists, they don't need a lot. Others need collaboration to be seen. Others need that one starting point, What I can say is you just need to understand yourself. What can you offer? This is not all about you forcing yourself into an activity you can't manage. That's why we say, we want to groom you in the way you can. Who are you? Like, seriously, who are you? So when you find yourself and you understand yourself, you can also understand your schedule and be like, I'll dedicate this time with my local non-profit or my local initiative that I saw, because you don't have to jump far away and go to other maybe district or like city to find a non-profit. In those areas, there is always some people who are doing some good work. So you just need to find out who and join them. Just go there. Don't go to do a lot. Go there to learn, because people are interested in someone who is ready to learn. When you learn and be like, okay, this is where I fit in, you will do a lot without even anyone forcing you. So the starting point is just you understanding what can I do? Who is me? What am I meant to do for sure? You know, what is my talent? What is my skill? Any skill is very important, because we haven't found a clear solution to the climate crisis. That is the baddest thing, but at the same time, the good thing. Because the bad side is the climate crisis will continue to be here because we don't have the antidote, the real antidote. But at the same time, lack of antidote opens door for creativity. So we need you. We need you to be the solution, but understand what you can do.